This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports in Chaco. We're delighted to be joined with the champ, Padraig McCrory. How are you, mate?
Very good, Morty. Thank you. Good.
I,
Good to be on again.
I felt a bit bad last week, obviously, because I'd interviewed you and Owen about a week or so before. So I know you and Owen were obviously left out of interviews. So I'd sort of said that we didn't really have anything to talk about. So I guess when we're sort of doing it, pretty much it's a week on. It's Friday today, isn't it? Friday.
Yeah.
I've lost concept of time. We're a week on now from your victory last Friday night. You've obviously been out living like a sort of king, having a few pints and eating some crazy foods. Is it now time to relax and try and maintain the weight?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I think I've had a good week. I built a bar at the back, so I tested that for the first time. It went well. But I went a wee bit overboard, like with the food and stuff. But it's time to get back on track. Tomorrow, me and Owen O'Neill and Sean Crowe are going to go out for a bite to eat. But apart from that, I'm going to be back on track and hopefully hitting 2022 in good shape and looking forward to like maybe something big.
Yeah, it's one of them. I know I was speaking to Jamie on Wednesday, and we were sort of saying, he was sort of looking at potential fights and stuff for you, and probably it's not slating you in a way, but he's probably saying for you now, it's for you to get bigger fights, it's obviously it's a high risk, low reward sort of for fighters. People can probably underestimate you. He said that people watch you fighting and go, I can beat him easy, and then they get hit with a left hook or the right hand, and it's the chapter's closed for them. How do you sort of take comments when you're seeing sort of Jamie sort of saying, about the potential you sort of had? Everybody knows you as obviously the friendly, nice guy, but whenever you get into that ring, you're an absolute demon.
Yeah, like I understand what he's saying. Like I'm not a massive name and sort of like like the UK boxing even. I'm starting to become a bit of a name in Irish boxing. But I do understand. I get what he means by that. But people always say like the way to get known is by knocking people out and being exciting, and I think that's exactly what I'm doing. I think like that's cool. Like if you look back to my last maybe 3 wins, I think if you look at Mickey Allison, after I beat him in 70 seconds, he went on to fight for an English title, and he had a decent fight. If you look at Sergei Gorkov, I beat him handy and knocked him out again in round 5, via stoppage. Last Wednesday night, he boxed for a EBU European title and was probably unlucky against a 20-0 Russian in a close fight. And then my last fight was against the Swiss champion, who was 8-1, and I talk about in round 2. So yeah, I'm stepping up and I'm answering all the questions. I'm fighting at a decent level now, so I think people need to start to take me serious.
It's like you look at it, and as you're sort of saying there, even go back as far, Lewis von Potch was obviously there as a good one to give you sort of rounds, but Steve Collins 14 and 2, Mickey Ellison 12 and 2, Gorachov 11 and 2, and Neves 8-1. So like you're fighting guys with really good running records. It seems to be probably you're beating these guys, and then it's giving other people going, well, we'll take them on now. It's like you're happy to take the test. Like I think you were underdog sort of in the Gorokov fight. You were probably the underdog. I'd probably say in the Steve Collins fight as well, and the Ellison's fight. So probably 3 of your last 5 fights you've sort of went in as an underdog. Is it sort of changed anything for your? Or you just I'm just know how to do my best?
I take things in my stride, but after each fight, I then speak to people and they're like, you know what, we probably fancied you to get beat there, and I'm like, I take the fights because like I'm confident in winning them, and I'm like, well, I made easy work of it, you know what, and that's it. my toughest test to date is probably Steve Collins. Like he brought probably his best like we've seen. But I dealt with that. If you look back, I fought Sean McGlinchey, who was a Commonwealth like bronze medalist in my fifth fight, on 24 hours notice as well. So I do take risks. I'm fighting decent fighters, like as I say, but I think outside of the Steve Collins fight, I think it's probably hard to find a round of boxing that I've actually lost.
It's one of them, you know. I know that the Neves fight last week, I would probably say you were slow in starting. Probably, you know, he came out and was happy to trade. You know, it's one of them sort of it got you going. Probably the good thing it got you going was because the round probably didn't go all your way in the first round, and probably then they had a talk with you and sort of seen with him coming forward was going to suit you perfect because, you know, you didn't have to go running looking for him to land a punch. Your stoppages have all sort of come with a fighter coming at you. You know, you've had some career highlight knockouts. You know, I think you're probably the founding member of the knockout club for irishboxing.com. But obviously opponents coming on to you now, and as they're stepping up, you're stepping up the sort of levels. When they're walking into you, that's perfect for you because they're just in that danger zone and they don't come back out on their feet.
And that's it. Like there's some of my like my earlier fights, I found it hard to get them out of there because like they were so negative.
Mm-hmm.
But once fighters start to come on to me and they're walking onto my shots, I think it's becoming fairly evident that it's going to be a tough fighter that's going to stand up to them.
And like, is it probably fair to say now that probably we're seeing the best out of you as well? You know, 3 stoppage ones in a row. You know, Ellison first round, Gorokov fifth round, Neves second round. Like in your last 3 fights, it's pretty much went 8 rounds probably distance, not counting it up properly, but you know, you've had 8 rounds in 3 fights.
If you count it up, I've had 3 fights with D now. Mm-hmm. I've done 4 with Gorokov and a half a round. I done 1 with Neves and a minute, and then I done a half a round with Ellison. So you're probably looking at 5.5, 6 rounds in the last what, 2 years?
So pretty much since the Van Poch fight was February 2020, so it's probably more 21 months.
6 rounds, do you know what I mean? Like it's not much. And there probably could have been 28 rounds there. So I definitely think I'm getting better. The better the opponent, the better that I'm getting. I think maybe some people maybe underestimated Neves a bit. And his 1 defeat, he fought an unbeaten German, and I watched the fight back, and to be honest, I thought he probably won the fight. So yeah, I think he was underestimated. He can fight out the first round. In fight week and stuff, I think I wasn't feeling my best. I got a wee bit sick, and then I had a wee bit of a bruised rib from my last spar as well. So just a few wee things like didn't go my way. But it's no excuse. I was getting in the fight. I was ready for a 10-round fight, but I always believed that I was going to knock him out.
And I guess, like, you know, with this link up with D now, it's three straight stoppage ones. Has been, without giving too much away, has there been sort of things added to your game? What sort of change with D that's bringing these knockouts now? Is it probably picking the right shots at the right time?
Yeah, probably. I've always had decent timing, and I think if you look at like my last knockout last week, and even against Mickey Alice, like my last 3 knockouts, it was all shots that we worked on coming up to fight. Like the last fight there, it was if you missed the right hand, have a wee look and come back with a left hook. And we drilled that and drilled it, and it worked. Sergei Gorkov, we knew he came in low, bobbing and weaving, and we started to bring in the uppercut, and it worked. Mickey Allison, we knew he was tall and rangy, and did a good job, so we brought in the slip right hand, and it worked. So me and D, I think it's never these just this is what we're doing. Me and Dee talk about it. We're both boxing men, and we work out like the best options and the best plan, and we drill it and drill it and drill it, and it works.
Definitely. Whenever it works, you have to make hay of it. Is it probably fair to say you're probably living a fairy tale in boxing? I know. I think you put up a couple of weeks ago. A few years ago when you decided that. I think was it 2015. You decided that boxing sort of wasn't for you, and sort of you time away from amateurs and before turning pro. But is it probably? I think Jamie had sort of alluded the other day. I think you probably went further than you probably thought you would in boxing already. So is it sort of like you're living like a sort of movie sort of scripted?
Yeah. Well, yes, but like me and boxing have always had like a love-hate relationship, and especially as an amateur, like I was never really dedicated. Like people always said that I had the talent, like to do really well, but I never had the commitment. And now just from my saying pro, I just got like a real buzz for it. And you might say that I went further, and because I'm like a pessimist, I probably agree. But ability wise, I people have always said like they have this ability, and I'm now starting to believe it. Again, if you had said to me 4 years ago, I potentially fought for like some titles and some big fights and fought in the Odyssey and so forth, like I would have laughed at you and said impossible. Just because that's the way I think. But I'm changing that now. I'm becoming a much more confident fighter. And I'm starting to believe that I can win European titles and go further.
And obviously you just say European titles. You just broke into the European rankings there. You're number 14th in the rankings, and I know Irish Boxing had sort of put out a story to say that looks like Jack Cullen may be obviously fighting for the European belt next year. I think if you were to fight and one for the prestigious, obviously, blue strap in boxing, I think you become the 16th Irish boxer in history. They also become a European title. But I guess it's sort of just trusting the process, and I don't think you could doubt for 1 second that the matchmaking's been done in your career so far. You have to believe in the process of where Jamie's been very good in guiding you to this point. So whatever he probably says is what happens.
Of course, yeah. And it's a fight like I've been calling for, because I think Jack's a great fighter. I think he's came through kind of like the same route as me, and he's got like the where he is because he's worked hard and he's took chances. I just think it's a good fight. I think it's a great fight. And if he wins the European title, I think there's no reason why me and him can't fight. But like I'm hearing there's a few other options, some options that I'm really excited about. So listen,
Canelo at Windsor Park. Canelo at Windsor Park was one I heard.
Yeah, that's definitely at the very top of the list.
I know I wasn't allowed to let that one out, but you're fighting Canelo next, so sorry, Jimmy.
Next July. Make sure you're back. Yeah. So Jack Cullen would be a great fight. I know Jimmy had mentioned it too much for him. I'm not sure why or what or like what's going on there, but they went for a different fight, and I got a second round stoppage. So I think now that I'm 14th, it puts me in the mix for a shot at the title next.
Because I know if Jack was to win it, then I think he would then have a voluntary defence, sort of somebody within the top 15 is out before he then have to have a mandatory again. And because of COVID and everything else, not everybody's boxing as regular as they can. So that you were 14th in the rankings before your fight last week. So when the next EBU rankings come out, you could be higher again.
Maybe.
Like, where do you sort of see your timeline of boxing now? You're 33. You don't probably look 33, and I'll take that fiver afterwards. But but you're only boxing, you're only boxing what 4.5 years. How
Yeah.
long do you sort of see, they say sometimes you're a big football fan and stuff as well. They say sometimes it's, you're in your prime. Do you feel like you have a longevity still left in the sport?
Listen, like as I say, me and boxing, like I've always had like a love-hate relationship. And I probably never stayed at it long enough. They get like the damage that you see on some people like at my age. I feel fresh. I feel like like I'm currently in my prime. I try to take a fight at a time. If I keep winning, I'm going to keep fighting.
And is it sort of one of them, I know sometimes some people can be scared of defeat, but is it sort of, if you were to lose, is it sort of one of them where depends on the method of defeat? If you lost, say, a split decision by a point, we sort of go, well, I need to keep going. It's not like you've been totally bamboozled somewhere. It's not like somebody blows you away in 30 seconds and you go, that's it, I'm done. Is it just dependent on obviously what happens, between now and I know sometimes we don't look towards a defeat, but in the back of your mind, you're probably going to go, well, here's the sort of trigger point to stay where I may and may not box again.
Yeah, well, listen, I have like a young family. I have a child at 3. I have a daughter 2, and I have a baby on the way at the start of January. So, the main thing in my life is my health and the health of my kids and family. So, listen, if I think there's a chance that like I took a step too far, or a chance that like I may be hurt if I continue, it's something like I would definitely think about and talk to with my wife and stuff. I love boxing. Boxing's like it's like a drug. Like it's something that you just can't get away from. And some fighters probably just stay in it for that bit too long. I don't want to be one of them fighters. I don't want to be one of them fighters that took they got one extra fight, just for payday, or just for or just because they thought they still had it. I feel like I have a decent head on my shoulders, like the where I know, like the correct decisions. So listen, it's one fight at a time, and if that defeat ever comes, then I'll think about it then. But at the minute, I'm 13-0. I'm knocking people out, and I just want to continue this.
And I'm sort of looking because I know, as I say, Manny's very, very friendly and everything else, and I know, you're a big boxing fanatic and stuff as well. Do you sort of think the life after boxing now, that you want to maybe stay in the sport in some way, whether, you could maybe go down the route of, say, like Jamie had been a former fighter and now into the management side of things or in the coaching?
Yeah, it's something that really gets me excited. Like to stay in boxing. Like I spoke about this like with Jamie as well. And I would love to stay in boxing. Like I would love to manage fighters. I don't know about coaching. I don't know about coaching, but I would love to stay involved in like the management, or like in the round, like running shows and taking part in that. I just enjoy it too much. Like even with like the journeyman of the sport and the matchmaking. Like I watch boxing all the time. I probably know every journeyman in the circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I hear about them getting matched up with certain fighters, like I know that it's going to be a tough night for them guys. So it's really something that I want to get stay involved in. To what capacity, I don't know. But yeah, I gotta say I love boxing. I'm a boxing fan, and I would love to stay involved.
Do you think sometimes probably another route maybe you could look at down the line is, with football, sometimes you want to see footballers staying within the sport in that way. Would ever something like refereeing be something you'd be interested in? Because I guess for some people, if you've been a fighter yourself, you can probably judge a fight better, or is that just taking it to a different realm? You wouldn't want to be in there stopping somebody from a fight and then, everything else. Would refereeing be sort of off the cards?
I don't know. It's again. I've been involved in shows, and I see the referees, and they all mingle together and stuff, and they look like they're having good crack, and so forth. It's something like I wouldn't I wouldn't say no to. I was a referee at a charity boxing event before, and someone got knocked down while I was referee, and I said that I would never do it again. So I don't know, but as I say, I want to be involved in boxing. I have a young family as well, so as I say, I don't know what capacity. If it meant a full-time role like a management or a semi full-time role, it would be something that I would really think about.
Definitely is. And when, obviously, for people watching, when can they hope they see you back in the ring? Are you hoping they keep hot pretty much and sort of get in at the start of next year?
Yes. Again, as I was saying, we have had conversations already. I was texting Jimmy Cullen like the next morning after my fight. My team at MTK as well are involved in this, so we're looking early next year, February, March time. As I said, there's a couple of potential names, and some of them are massive names in boxing. And if they come off, it's exactly what I want. I want to be involved in big fights. I want to be involved in fights that mean something, to challenge me and show me where I can go, what I can achieve in the game, you know. And if they come off, it's massive for me. So we're just waiting back, waiting to hear word. I'm back in the gym on Monday. I took a week off. Back in the gym on Monday. I'm going to have a quiet Christmas. Who knows? We could be in the last year of boxing. I don't know. So I'll have everything is going to be boxing, dedicated to boxing. We're going to try and just. I always say I'm riding the wave. I'm riding the wave, and the wave's going up, and it's going up and up and up, and I'm just going to keep riding, and I want to see how far I can go with pushing myself. I don't want to go like half-hearted or thinking I could have done more. I want to see where I can go.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's the good thing about boxing. Sometimes you don't know your limit. You know, you've got the 13-0 now as a pro, and you're knocking people out of there. And whenever you have serious power like that, the world's your oyster. You know, like all it takes is one punch to do the damage, and you know, you just don't know what your limit is, and it's probably scary to you, the fact you're going, I don't know where this is the end. You know, at what level I'm going to get to. You know, probably scares you, the fact you're going, Jimmy, just fast forward there 12 months and see where I'm at. You know, it sort of scares you in that, where you're like, where am I going to finish up?
Well, Allison was a decent domestic level opponent. My last two opponents, you would probably say, are decent European level opponents. As I say, Gorkov had a very close fight against a 20-0 Russian for a European title, or a WO European title. He probably could have got it. I beat the Swiss champion in 4 minutes. So again, who knows where it's going to go? But there's one thing for sure is I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out where I can go.
Yep, and that's the most important thing. But well, obviously, I know we've had you probably on quite a few times this year. But obviously, it's great to obviously get to catch up with you a week out. You know, for week past obviously your fight. I'm sure we'll obviously hopefully get a catch up at some stage in the new year. Hopefully, when you get some fight news, we can obviously find out what's these big fights. It's hopefully been exciting you, and if it's not Canelo and Windsor Park, will be disappointed.
Listen, I think I'll leave him until the year after.
Year after, let him sweat it out. But you know, but look, it's been great getting to catch up with you again, and I'm sure we'll hopefully catch up with you again soon.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, boy. Take care.